Welcome back. You're watching News Sources. Let's continue. And former Prime Minister Raila Odinga today told off Majority Leader Aden Duale, saying he and Aden Duale are not age mates and that he cannot respond to his quote-unquote stupid sentiments. Raila also defended governors under his coalition following the release of the county's audit report. Let's listen in.
Mimi sirika ya Mheshimiwa Duale atajibiwa na wabunge wenzake. Hiyo ni maneno ya upuzi, ya ujinga ambayo mimi sitaki kuongea juu yake.
Who wants to offer first about this?
It's very important about politics because a few years ago, Aden Duale was one of the greatest supporters of Raila Odinga.
Right, but then the tone of his voice and his kind of trying to dismiss him and not go into the issue is, I think, a bit telling. Like I said before, a spade is a spade. There must have been billions also stolen at the county level. If you do as you guys say and go and do audits of every single county, I don't think we'll like what we find, and I don't think anybody will be able to use those records to defend themselves. So it seems like a funny political move on Raila's part. Let's see where it ends up.
Is this the thing? I mean, Aden Duale had lost his voice a couple of weeks ago, but Raila just resuscitated him. So Duale is back to his usual best self. And he can do this every single day.
And I think that is what has irritated the enigma, as is referred to. But Duale, of course, in his characteristic way, responded. He was prompt. 3:30, there was a news briefing in Parliament. He has said, yes, I might be stupid, I might be not your age mate, but constitutionally have some clout. I have a big office called Majority.
He has a pulpit. Like I said, Duale can do this every single day.
And you see, like, I also expected when Raila was asked that question, you could at least strive to, to one of the issues that Duale, because Duale has raised very fundamental issues. And one of the issues that Raila rushed to Kilifi, and this is where he's building one of his massive support bases in this country. So these are not things that you can just sweep under the carpet.
No, I agree 100%. And then I again come back to the people of Kenya, because we're looking for an alternative to a government that seems to be a lot of graft. And we were court was painting itself as not starred, not tainted by the brush of corruption. But now we can see that it's just endemic across the country. So the fundamental question, I think, is who
steals less?
Not who steals less, who else, apart from the big two, can actually lift this country out of the state that it's gotten into? Because it seems like it's equal on both sides in terms of
what's going to be the question on the minds of Kenyans on the 8th of August when they go to vote? Because corruption had painted itself as the central question in coming in this campaign 9 months into it. But as it is now, it's, game on for both Jubilee and CORD,
Yes, a few weeks ago I did the Spotlight 2017 on Thursday, and there was a research conducted by the Jesuit Center. Dr. Elias Mukua said the moral apathy in the country is very high. So some of the issues that will shape the 2017 8th August general election, or some of the determinant factors, will be the question of moral apathy. You look at everything, Kenyans are sort of on the verge of despair, and therefore the threshold, or this time round, there could be a game changer, similar to a revolution that we've witnessed. There will be a lot of surprise packages that will come based on the moral apathy that Kenyans, I think everybody feels it's too much. What Raila has done to Duale today is basically what Ruto did to Joho. Ruto said, Joho tafuta size yako.
Stick to your lane.
Stick to your lane. He even went ahead and said you're an academic dwarf. Joho has responded in equal measure.
We're getting into that shortly.
Yes, so it's the moral apathy is gaining momentum, and that could be one of the major factors that will shape and determine, by and large, the outcome.
Isn't that hoping for too much? Given that in 2013 we had this chapter 6, a whole integrity chapter that was a private joke between the creators of the Constitution and the
integrity is such an abstract concept. It's constitutional, philosophical, but when we talk about the economy and money and billions, you are affected every day, no matter who you are. So if you give me an option, somebody to stand behind who's going to tell me, I'm really going to try and sort out your pocket, I'm telling you, many Kenyans will stand behind that person, that man or woman.
You see, when that the chapter you're talking about in the Constitution, the chapter on integrity, it's being enforced by EACC. And EACC, we know, two of its topmost officials are being investigated or are still currently being investigated.
Yes, yeah. Also,
so
the
integrity is one of those chapters that I feel like tearing from the Constitution. Because
we don't need it.
Yeah, because all these things that are happening, you know, from every county, from every region, from even the national government, it's just a shame. And I feel that one day, young Kenyans, people like me who've gone to school, should just rise up and say that things are going wrong in this country.
You're suggesting that people going to school are not corrupt, so we'll leave it at that. But meanwhile, the back and forth between the government and opposition operatives continues, with Kakamega Governor Wycliffe for Paranya and Mombasa Governor Ali Hassan Joho telling off Majority Leader Aden Duale over his attacks on court leader Raila Odinga. Listen in. Right, we'll get to that by the moment. But this is what, you know, we started from. That you know, it's become, you know, a ping pong of some sort, and where Majority has managed to get that bite. So let's listen in.
And I know all these issues that you see in the newspapers is propaganda from the government. Audits reports have been there. And we have heard of audit reports all these 4 years. How come that someone has never been arrested, that he has eaten money? How come? And this is now the time they are coming up with audit reports all over the papers because it's near elections. They have talked of Waiguru, they have talked of himself being involved in the National Youth Service scandal. How come they have not been taken to court? This is all propaganda, and we are ready for it. We can assure them that we are ready for it.
County governments only fund functions that are affiliated to us as a county government. We fund in line with the Constitution, and there is no mention whatsoever in the Constitution and any law that the county can fund a political leader. So Duale needs to go and read this Constitution again. And wapi nasema hapo you fund the Prime Minister. There's nothing like that. We fund such projects, and that's why we're working closely with partners to change lives.
So just how did the opposition, you know, found itself, you know, on the defense? Yeah, because now they're looking on the defense.
Against the ropes, yeah.
I think Governor Paranya was a PS or a minister
planning.
before.
Minister
for Planning. This is a guy who has been a minister for planning, and he comes on national TV to talk a lot of nonsense. And I'm saying this for these reasons. The fact that audit reports have been released for the last 4 years and no one has ever been taken to court, it doesn't mean they can be taken to court now. If he's guilty or someone is guilty in his county government, he should take responsibility. Oparanya is currently a multimillionaire. There are some of us who are not even thousandaires, and I don't want to start stealing away to that. So he should start taking that responsibility.
Actually, this could again, going back to my original question, they find itself again against the ropes. And they had primed themselves on this corruption thing, but now it's, you know, it's hitting them, and they're the ones who are now responding.
Yes, they found themselves on the receiving end now, trying to defend their position. I don't know how they could have thought ahead, because theft at the county level has been going on for years now, since 2013. So it's kind of hard to see how they would have handled that. But for Paranya to call it propaganda and nobody has been arrested and prosecuted, exactly why hasn't anybody been arrested and prosecuted? This is a question that we as the people are asking. But now it's becoming, one politician says it's like a spitting contest. How far can you spit? You know, we're not being given substance, we're just being given what were you calling it? Politics? Politics of convenience.
Yes.
And it's really not helping the situation.
Okay, but the big question is, can't you believe and do anything? Do they have that, the moral authority, away from the moral apathy that you just, you know, talked about a few minutes ago?
At this point, as Julie says, we should just accept that there's a contest, a spitting contest. Who can spit the farthest or the closest, or who can spit on whose, is it face or chest? Because I think the president, the reason why we saw the president almost despairing and saying, what do you want me to do? We just have to accept where we've reached. It's a corruption, a graft paradise of sorts, or perhaps we are engaging in a corruption merry-go-round.
I think the opposition needs to redefine what it wants to, because if you look at the 2013 elections, Raila Odinga was the widely elected leader in the presidential race in Kenya. And most of the counties in Kenya, they are either in court or in this new thing that is being crafted known as NASA. So the coming few days, it will be totally difficult for the opposition to just say that our counties are not corrupt, we are not corrupt, it's just the national government. And this is where leadership comes in. This is where Raila needs to, to listen to younger people, to listen to people in the villages, to listen to people who've gone to school, and to engage them so that he can get new ideas away from just the small clique of people who advise and in extension misadvise him, like they misadvised him to go to Kilifi.
But I think, again, on second thought, we could be heaping so much responsibility and pressure on people that we can say their hands are tied. We have an arm of government that is charged and mandated by the Constitution for oversight.
We've already given up on those things, Simon.
But now, they are the people that I think we should... Yes, it's Parliament that should be actually asked, what are they doing? Since 2013 to where we are, just list one aspect you can say Parliament has conducted its role as expected of oversight. We are seeing the Auditor General coming up with reports, the SEC doing this, people moving in circles. Where is Parliament? What is their role in this? They are the ones that are charged, apart from representation and legislation, oversight. That is their mandate. Where are they?
This is a fundamental question, but I think the truth is Kenyans have given up in any institution to talk any other fight corruption, starting with the SEC. Yes. I personally don't think those people should be in office. We should find out on how to kick them out.
So we kick them out, but then what?
It's fine. Let's just kick them out.
Then because
so that we operate in a jungle.
No,
yes, it is fine. But we didn't have. We were not born with the SEC in this country.
Yeah, but Parliament was there, an oversight arm.
Yeah. Parliament has been there since 1963, yes. So they should be able. They should be more aware of what they need to do to oversight.
So the deeply troubling thing, as you make the point, is the Kenyan people are accomplice to graft and corruption.
They are representatives. They are representatives. You and I, we can shout as much as we can on news sources, but we don't have that, I think, mechanism to investigate, to oversight, to do what? We have Parliament, and as Julie says, Parliament has been in these countries as long as we can remember. It's their role to oversight.
But if the Kenyan people are complicit, it means a complete cultural overhaul, not even oversight, overhaul and changes done by us, I guess, because we're the ones who are getting frustrated by people stealing billions.
We're not enough.
We are 40 million, and if all of us are complicit in this affair, then we need to change. Bottom line, guys.
40 million to make that change.
All right, let's keep this theme, and finally it's found its voice. President Uhuru Kenyatta has yet again criticized opposition leader Raila Odinga for, quote, misleading wananchi with retrogressive politics. Ahead of the 2017 August election, he says, Uhuru says Kenya will never forge ahead while leaders spread hatred, lies, and propaganda about his Jubilee administration. Uhuru was addressing a crowd in Bungoma on his way to officiate Kibabii University's first graduation ceremony. Let's listen in. All right, we'll play that as it comes on. Yeah, finally the president has found his voice. So Jubilee is coming back to
these days the president speaks like there's a character in the Game of Thrones known as King George. Some young boy was given leadership and they didn't know what to do with it. When the president says that the opposition is spreading propaganda about him, which is this propaganda? It's true that the Kenyan national government is inherently corrupt. That's a fact. The other thing, it's true that the Kenyan national government has overspent in projects. You look like SDR, the amount of money you'll get from SDR and the amount that you have invested in it. So the president, if he's saying that there's propaganda being spread by the opposition, let him tell us which and which is this, which and this is this, which propaganda is this.
Julie.
I just have one thing to say. There's retrogressive politics and there's retrogressive policies. Which is worse for our country? Our opposition, which is being retrogressive, or a government which can't take us forward in the way we need to go. So I think back to our circus, because we're going around in circles with the merry-go-rounds of corruption and of accusations and all the rest of it, but we need actual leadership to move on from this point in time.
Yes, I concur with Julie. Where the government or the president is actually getting his eyes off the ball is trying to engage with the opposition. It's the work of the opposition to oversight, distract, derail. So if the government is going to engage in shouting contests with the opposition, they are losing, because at the end of it, it's the government that will be held accountable to Kenyans 2017. So the government, it's the one that we can say, perhaps if it doesn't play its cards well, it might be judged as having failed. Look at the scams that are coming up, whether they are real or perceived. 13 and counting so far in 4 years. When you look at the Grand Coalition government in 10 years, apart from payment of Anglo leasing, which had begun in another regime, maybe you can talk of Triton and maybe the KKV. So in 10 years, you could be talking of about roughly 3. This one in 4 years, 13 and counting, and more could be coming. So the government must up its game if it doesn't want to be judged harshly as having failed.
And truly, the graft in the national government and the county government is incomparable. Just the figures are stunning. But finally, remember that brewing war of words between Ali Hassan Joho and William Ruto? Well, there is no let-up in that front. Governor Joho is hitting back on the assertions that he's an academic dwarf, telling of Deputy President William Ruto. Listen in.
Kuona utendakazi wa bandari ya Mombasa unahamishwa upeleke Eldoret, hiyo sitaki na nitapinga usubuhi, mchana, usiku, time yoyote. Haiwezekani. Na waangalia baina tofauti yangu na ya William Ruto. Yeye anasema sisi ni academic dwarfs. Yeye ni academic giant. Lakini kama kweli yeye, mbona ameuza watu wake, chama chake, akapeleka kwa mshirika wake Uhuru Kenyatta? Mbona yeye kama ni mwerevu na yeye ni mjanja sana na amesoma sana, mbona standard gauge railway imepelekwa Naivasha na sio Eldoret?
Emanga, where is this going? 30 seconds as we take this home.
One, I think Ruto has become so greedy for power. And the reason why he's attacking at Joe is looking at 2022. And he's become like that hyena that met a calf which was tied by the rope. And the calf was so nice, it said, before I eat the calf, let me first start eating the rope as I give myself appetite. And this is what he's doing greatness for, for 2022. So this greatness, I think, will reach a point where he'll be choked.
Anjali?
Well, I think speaking of academic dwarfs and intellectualism, I think they should stop insulting our intelligence. We don't need to hear them bickering. We need to see action. We need to see people trying to
stem... like real action, like them fighting?
No, well, that too. But stem the flow of money from the central government and from the counties, because this political back and forth, quite frankly, is not helping anybody, and people are getting tired of it.
I think 001 declared that he told his party boss that don't waste your time, engage the DP. He's my match. I'll take him head on. And I think what he declared after the ODM at 10 celebrations, I think it's coming into fruition. He made it clear that he wants to engage the DP and to take the DP, to match the DP blow by blow, so to speak. Of course, you've seen the back and forth. There is a clip that is going viral where he's now calling for the DP to choose an audit firm of international repute of his own. Then they start doing an audit on how each one has amassed a coin. Joho says that he'll account according to how he's built his business empire. Now you can guess where that one is headed. So that is their contests. And remember, these were people who are friends in ODM. So there's one who says dragged the other one into politics. So whatever they are feuding about or fighting about is no anybody's guess. And I don't know how that one will end. But clearly, these are people who've drawn their battle lines, and we will see how far they will throw their punches.
And I also look forward to the day that Ruto will do a story on how I made my empire.
Okay, okay, brilliant. So I asked you if you think Raila is insane, his campaign against corruption on Twitter. 53% of you say yes. 47% of you say absolutely not. Thank you very much for tweeting in. Hundreds, if not thousands of tweets have come in. I will go to do and examine them and see if these academic giants would dwarf in it. KTN News is up next. Don't go too far. But watch.